Yo, what's going on? Today I'm going to do sort of like a breakdown of the iPads that I have and sort of showcase some of the apps that I'm using and why I'm using the iPad. What do I use it for? Because a lot of people have been commenting on my recent posts about getting an iPad and they don't know which one to use. So I want to preface this by saying the older iPad, I had this one for about 3 years, and you can kind of see it's been beaten up. You know, it's cracks everywhere, but it keeps on ticking, so I really love it. I use this one a lot on murals and just like mocking stuff up, but you can do anything on the older iPad as well, the iPad Pro specifically as well. And this is the 9.7 iPad. This is the 4th generation iPad Pro that is 12.9 inches. So basically, like I said, you can do anything on both. And then I also want to preface that, you know, I want to do this review, not for sort of like the digital artists per se that are only in digital arts, but, you know, how do I use it as an artist in the studio working with sort of physical, tangible items. And, you know, I'm doing a lot of public art and sort of installation work as well. But let's get started on sort of the specs and everything. So one of the things that I really like is just the size, just like being able to draw on a bigger one, but you can get the older one that's a lot larger as well. One little thing that I do sort of get annoyed about is the bigger the screen, sometimes when you're sort of, you know, you're working on something and you got to change the orientation. When it changes on you, sometimes it's a little bit annoying to sort of have to change up the orientation by picking it up and moving it around. And the bigger the screen, the more annoying it is. One of the biggest differences that I've noticed recently is that I don't lose my pencil as much. So this older one, the iPad, the pencil is basically sort of like on its own, and you have to have a case to sort of carry the pencil in. But with the newer iPads, I love this right here. It's magnetic, so the pencil just automatically fits on there, and sort of all the cases that they make for this iPad basically has like room for you to sort of, you know, carry it with you. So that's one of the reasons why I really love it. And not only that, when you're not using the pencil and you store it, it charges. So you don't have to sort of unplug anything or plug anything back in. So it charges automatically. So that's why I really like it. So when I'm not using it, I just throw it on there, and you can kind of see, you know, it's at 100%, because usually when I don't have it around me, it's just charging. Whereas this one, you know, it's not charging, so I have to actually take it out and put it back in. So now let's get to the nitty gritty of why I'm using the iPad. So let's actually just move this out the way and just use this one right here. And let me see if I can just focus in a little bit more. So getting down to the brass tacks, what do I use my iPad for? I use it for 3 different things: for design, for mock-ups, and for documentation. And I'm gonna go through some of those through the different apps that I sort of downloaded and I'm using all the time. And let's go to the first one, which is Procreate. You know, you've seen me work with this one lately, and this has been really great. So I use this for design and mock-ups. So basically, you know, stuff like this you've seen me sort of do. And these are really a lot of experimental and just concept and just working with color. But I do a lot of design and mock-up. So people will send me pictures of their space they want me to paint up, and I'll do a little mock-up and everything. I have developers sending me some blueprints of some new developments, and they want me to do sort of murals on it. So like doing mock-ups is almost 60 to 70% of what I do. Let's actually go to my photos. That's me right there. Let's actually go to my iPad review, and you'll see during my last show that I had, I was supposed to turn this space into a museum. And it was basically a concept that I had, but they gave me like a blank canvas, all white walls, right? And I didn't know exactly what color I wanted to use for the background. And if you know my shows, you know that everything is sort of painted up, even the walls. So I brought all my artwork there, I hung it up, and basically after that, I did a little mock-up on my computer and sort of threw down some colors and everything. So that is usually how I sort of start to figure out what colors I want to paint on a wall is by taking a picture and then doing a mock-up of it. So like this one right here, you can kind of see how I sort of was throwing colors around based on, you know, the actual colors of the painting, what complements it, what would sort of make it pop a little bit. And then really after that, you know, that's the finished piece right there. So after I get the colors sort of mocked up on the photo, I go down to Home Depot and do some color matching, and basically that is sort of how I pick my colors. So you can kind of see everything, even the pedestals. So the pedestals right here were all white. I did a mock-up of that, got the colors and basically painted it there. So basically everything was sort of designed in either Photoshop or on my iPad on the fly. So you can kind of see, you know, those rainbow colors right there. That was only because, you know, after I sort of mocked it up and really liked it how it was here, that's when I sort of executed it in real life. And then another project that I did was in a place called AEG Live Studio, and that was really cool because it was an office space, and they asked me to paint one of their walls in the office, a really large wall, and I mocked it up. They gave me a CAD drawing, I mocked it up and everything with a design and threw colors down and then added the colors here, and then went to Home Depot. I have like the cards here where I went through and basically color matched all the different colors, and it's a way of sort of documenting the colors that I use as well. So if I want to go back and do some touch up, you know, I'm able to do that as well. So that's what I do a lot of, is just mocking things up on the iPad and sort of just seeing what it would look like before I even touch anything. This is one I did near Aspen in a place called Snowmass. They gave me a picture of the wall, and then that's how the wall actually came out. But this is the design I did. So that's the design, and this is the actual wall. So it looks really nice, but it's all planned out. What I also do too is sort of make decisions without having to commit to a decision. And this one, this Anderson .Paak painting right here, is the finished piece, but in between, while I was still working on it, I was able to throw this photo right here into Procreate and actually test out some colors. So let's actually open, I was able to, you know, throw colors in different places right here. So I was like, okay, what does this yellow do if I put it right here? What does, you know, let me take that out. Let me see if I put in a, you know, a purple. If I do a purple, I do something right here. How would that sort of look? So I'm able to sort of commit to a color without having to commit to it in the physical world, and just see how it would play out if I were to paint it physically. So I do this from time to time, especially when I feel like I'm stuck on a painting and I just don't know what colors to use. So I do that a lot. So let's actually go out of here and to another app called Handy. So this one right here is basically sort of like a reference app, and it's all about hands, and it's all about I think you can do feet, you can do heads, and you can do some other poses as well. So it's like a head, you know, female head. You get to actually, you know, have something to sort of work from. And what's really cool too is that this new iPad allows you to do something called split screen. So I'm able to, let's see if I can do this, take the app and throw it to the side, and then if I want to start a new project based on this reference right here, I'm able to just start that project, you know, and just use that as a reference. Maybe it's this angle right here that I'm working on. But the thing is, the split screen allows me to sort of just work without having sort of another laptop or another iPad holding the reference at all. So I also do another app called Pose, which is sort of like a reference app as well, but it's more of the full body, and you get to move stuff around. You know, you get to move all these pieces around and just making sort of like sort of different angles. So this is something that I use a lot in terms of just making sure that, you know, my proportions are sort of correct and I'm building it off of something that's realistic. So yeah, you can check it right there. But yeah, so Fresco is sort of like the Adobe version of Procreate. The one good thing about this one is that it has a vector option too. So the vector is basically something that allows you to scale up as much as you want to, scale down as much as you want to, and still not lose resolution or information whenever you're doing sort of like illustrations. And it's a part of the Adobe family, so that's really cool. So everything sort of works together. So that's why I like the Fresco app. But you know, when it comes to illustration, I like using Procreate a little bit more. But one thing about Procreate too is that if you're, let me swipe that off the screen. If you're wanting to, actually let me go back in there, share, you're able to export it as a PSD or a Photoshop file. So you can actually have layers that will work in Photoshop. So that's like a really, really cool thing to really have. Another app that I really like, that I use a lot, is the Lightroom app. And Lightroom, especially if you're a photographer, this is a really dope app to use. Let's say, let me throw in that photo right there, because it's like a ton of other apps sort of put together. And because it's Lightroom, you know, it works with all these other Adobe sort of programs as well. So, you know, you're able to, oh, let's see, not that. You're able to do a lot. Oh man, okay, there we go. You're able to do a lot with it in terms of just like manipulating your photos without having to actually do anything on your MacBook. So I use a lot of these apps, like I said, mainly for the mock-ups, the design work as well. And I'm also starting to use it for note-taking. So when I have a client, I'm able to take notes. This app is called GoodNotes, I believe. Yeah, GoodNotes. One other thing that I really like about this app, but it's also just in, I guess, the Apple family, is the sort of measuring app as well. And this one I use whenever I'm figuring out how to measure a wall, because you want to figure out how big a wall is so you know how much paint you're going to use. And that's super important because you want to be prepared as much as possible. And that is super, super important. I actually have to have, let me see if I can open this up. But really it's like you have this dot and you sort of make measurements and you can kind of see it right there. But it's super, super accurate in terms of figuring out, you know, the measurements of different things. So let's do that one, let's do that one, a whole new one right there. But this app right here is super, super intuitive and helps me out a lot when it comes to sort of, like I said, figuring out how large a wall is, because a gallon of paint will cover about 200 to 300 square feet based on the quality of it on one coverage. So, you know, when you have that sort of numbers in your head, you're able to sort of better estimate the quote or the price. And then lastly, I use a lot of this app called Video Leap. And this Video Leap app is basically like a video editing app that allows you to, let's see if I can do a whole nother project out here. Let me do a new project. So basically this is like a clear project, but you can throw in, you know, I want to do that video right there. And then I want to add in, you know, this video right here. It's really great for just adding in videos and editing, and you're able to layer it as well, which is something that, you know, other apps sometimes don't do. So you're able to do that on your iPad. And one last thing for, I guess, the documentation part of using this thing is that it has a screen record. So when you hit that, you're able to record all your actions on the iPad. So if I want to go in, I want to sort of draw a little bit more, and then I'm like, okay, I want to save what I've been doing, and then I want to move to a different app and let me do Fresco. You know, I want to do that as well, and then I want to sort of document all the actions I've been doing on my iPad. I'm able to do that with screen record, go back and actually have all that stuff sort of saved. So let's see, yeah, all that stuff is saved. So it's great for, like I said, documentation purposes, mainly because you just never know when you're giving an artist talk, or you're trying to explain something, or you just want something for, you know, the records. So I like the screen record app a lot. But I just wanted to give a good rundown of how I've been using my iPad. I also have Adobe Draw and Photoshop on there. I don't really use a lot of Photoshop because, you know, I got Procreate and I got Fresco, and they pretty much do almost the same thing. And the Photoshop on this doesn't have all the features that it does on a regular sort of MacBook, so I didn't want to sort of get into using it and sort of being limited at all. So Procreate does just as much and more. So this is what I use the iPad for. So hopefully that helps out when it comes to you making a decision on whether you want to get an iPad or not. Like I said, the older version that I have, this one right here, super old school, but only, well, 3 years old. It's been beaten up a lot, and I use this, like I said, on mural jobs, taking this around. But you can do everything that you're doing on hair. This is just a little bit slower, and sometimes it can be annoying when, you know, you have to sort of carry around and sort of keep a hold of the pencil without having something naturally sort of tying it to the iPad. So it's really good. But if you can sort of invest into the new one, I would say get the new one. It cost me, I believe, $1,100, and then the case was like another maybe $70, and then I think I got an extra sort of cord as well. But this one, like I said, you can charge it with your MacBook charger, so, you know, I just use that from now on. But it's been really, really good, and hopefully, like I said, that helps you out when it comes to making your decision. So definitely like and subscribe to my YouTube channel. I'm going to try to keep more of these videos going so that I can help you and other artists out as much as possible. But definitely, like I said, like, subscribe, and share the videos to support. And I will see you next time. Peace.